Jimmy Corsetti on the YouTube channel Bright Insight recently posted a pretty amazing video that we'll look at some clips from, and then I'll give my more conspiratorial opinion on what could potentially be the reason for what's going on at Gobekli Tepe. So, just for a brief understanding, Gobekli Tepe, it's this pretty amazing ancient site, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, temple locations, megalithic sites that we are even aware of in the world. And there's a lot of really strange things surrounding it, including the WEF, World Economic Forum, of course, having their hands in it. What a coincidence. And there is some evidence of why they have their hands in this, the conspiratorial side of it, that I will bring into it in just a minute. Here is some pictures of something he mentions in the video. They're practically destroying the site Göbekli Tepe. They're doing construction there. They're not even really excavating. The thing is pretty much a tourist trap now, and they're passing it off to future generations to wait and see what they want to do with it. When this could hold the answers to some of the most incredible facts about human history, this could have many of the answers here, and they're just not doing it. Why is that? Do they know something? Well, we'll see. So let's listen to a few clips from this video and then get into what I think could potentially be going on there.
So get this. The 20-year partnership was done by members of the World Economic Forum back in 2018. Yes, you read that right. The tentacles of the WEF has seemingly infiltrated the world's oldest and most mysterious structure in all of human history. In fact, the chairman and CEO of the Dogus Group is a Turkish billionaire by the name of Ferit Sahenk, who is a longtime member of the World Economic Forum. And not only that, he's on the Forbes list of top billionaires in the world. And this 20-year partnership deal involving Gobekli Tepe was literally announced at the annual World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, Switzerland. They even had an ice sculpture of Gobekli Tepe carved outside the meeting itself. I mean, you can't make this up. But how on earth have I never heard of this before? I suppose that since it was back in 2016, few were talking about the WEF at that time.
So, kind of when it comes down to it, some of the main groups that are halting excavation at Göbekli Tepe have their ties to the WEF. When you look more into the WEF and archaeology, it's pretty strange. They have a lot of different articles that they write about it, how climate change is washing away precious evidence of our distant past. Here's another one, how archaeology can help us understand climate change. And it really kind of goes on and on. And I do want to know personally, when it comes to climate change and archaeology, why no one can explain how this stone, the Plymouth Rock stone, is not having any water covering it, even though rising sea levels is such a massive problem that we hear about. Of course, this website, the Plymouth Rock pictures don't prove that sea levels are the same as 1602. Supposedly, this stone has been picked up and moved multiple times, but you go down into the article and you'll see at the very least, the stone has been in that same spot since 1920. And as you can see on most days, this stone is like not even covered in water. So what's going on with the sea levels there? I would like the WEF to answer that. Well, there's no taxes and there's no power you don't have an answer to that. When you can't enforce climate science, then that takes away the taxes, the climate taxes, it takes away the power. That's exactly, in my opinion, why they push this stuff nonstop. Again, another article, underwater archaeological sites offer clues to ancient coastal communities. Again, it's just strange when you type in WEF archaeology, how many different articles come up. You can see all of these from the World Economic Forum website, space archaeology, extreme weather events are damaging archaeological sites, discovering an ancient hydraulic system, on and on and on. Archaeologists explore ancient storm tunnels. Why does the WEF care so much about archaeology? Let's watch one more quick clip from this, and then I'll start to get into my conspiratorial opinion on what the WEF is actually covering up. Because clearly they're covering up something if they're stopping excavation at this ancient site.
Remember, they are leaving it for, quote, future generations. And although there are still archaeologists working on the site of Gobekli Tepe today, I'm not saying that there are zero excavations taking place. However, the scope is incredibly limited, hence why that 5% figure is more or less the same. The reality is that any meaningful, large-scale dig of the remaining 14 circular enclosures that hold up a majority of the potentially 128 remaining pillars that remain hidden underground is currently at an indefinite standstill. Let that sink in. It seems to me that since the tentacles of the WEF infiltrated excavation management of Gobekli Tepe in 2016, that ever-constant 5% figure I discussed earlier seems directly related. And again, members of the WEF are the ones making decisions here. If they wanted to dig it up, they would. They could move the viewing platforms further away. They could do anything they want. They have literally billions of dollars at their disposal and the decision-making power along with it. I have to say that to not fully excavate this site is a borderline crime against humanity. In fact, it's totally inexcusable. All of the estimated 200 pillars need to be exhumed and studied. All people of Earth have a right to know as much as possible about the origins of mankind, especially considering how much of a mystery our lost past actually is.
So pretty much that kind of covers it, really. The WEF has decided, for practically, it seems like the only excavation going on is about 5%. The WEF is pretty much having their hand in the say to make that site a tourist location and not a place to actually dig up and learn one of the most ancient and incredible sites that we actually know to exist. They have these platforms, they're putting in these new roads, they're planting, I'll put the picture on screen, they're planting vineyards over what clearly 100% there's stuff for sure buried under there. Why are they planting plants there and they're not doing excavations? What are they trying to hide? Now, here's where we'll get into the conspiratorial aspect of it. What's going on exactly here? Well, here is a legitimate, you can look up this clip. This is actually a email from Freedom of Information between real government officials. People claim online that this was to Hillary Clinton. There's no proof that I'm aware of that this was to Hillary Clinton at all, but this is for sure a government email sent within the United States government. I'm pretty sure it was gained by the Freedom of Information Act. And you can read it here. Requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of the buried Nephilim. There's a lot of people who claim the Smithsonian and different organizations, universities have covered up the ancient past. And if they are doing that, and from what I think it seems like they're doing it for one reason and one reason alone. They're trying to find the DNA to the fallen beings that existed in the ancient past that helped build these ancient sites. It's impossible that ancient human beings built these sites with nothing, with literally no tools at all. And they're making massive stones and building sites that we couldn't even do today, like the Great Pyramids of Giza, Baalbek, etc., etc. I think they're on a mission to try to find the Nephilim DNA. And if they're not doing that, then what I think it does is it proves either the early Earth theory and that the Earth is more in lines with what the Bible says, or it proves some other biblical truth. We can know that there's many, many articles in ancient America talking about giants and giant bones, Nephilim. This is the offspring of the Nephilim. This Instagram page, Giants of Ancient America, does a great job documenting article after article after article of ancient bones found in America, bones of giants. Skeleton of giant Indian discovered. I mean, this honestly goes on and on and on. Man who stood 10 foot tall, skeleton of a prehistoric Irish giant. So why was this going on constantly in the ancient past? Even Abraham Lincoln said that about Niagara Falls, that we're looking at the same thing that the ancient giants who lived here one time before looked upon the same waterfall. And then we have the ancient mounds in America that are attributed to giants and Nephilim. It just goes to show that it really seems that organizations such as the Smithsonian, such as universities, have done something to cover up the existence of giants and the existence of Nephilim, for the fact of either trying to extract the DNA and resurrect a fallen being, or to keep the Bible under wraps. I mean, when you find bones, you have to call the police or university, and that's pretty much how it's been for quite a long time. So people find giant bones on their property, they have to call the police. If you find human remains, you find them, the police come and take them away. In the past, a university would come and take them away. They'd go to the Smithsonian or somewhere else. And then it really just comes down to either these people at the highest levels are doing what these people here are still doing at the highest levels in our own government, trying to find the location of buried Nephilim. I mean, come on, that's a real email. Or they're just trying to hide the Bible because that's just what they want to do. There's a spiritual war going on. It's either you're on the side of Jesus or you're on the side of Satan. That's the only two things pretty much happening in this world. There's a little bit of just life in general, but when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's a spiritual war, and especially when we get into fallen beings, ancient past, and the origins of humanity, there's a war, a truth war going on between good and evil. So that's kind of what I think it comes down to. This is a great, interesting video. He covers a lot more stuff in relation to this, so I definitely recommend going and checking this out on his channel. You won't believe this disturbing Gobekli Tepe update. That's kind of where I'm coming at. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope and pray you're well. Follow Jesus Christ. He's the way, the truth, and the life. God bless.